Hello, Petra. Hello, Tom Bevins. What's going on, guys? What's happening? Hello, Jeff Mars. What's going on with you guys? God, what the heck? Petra says, I'm going big this year or open up another offline store. I hear that, Petra. We are going to go big. We are going to go big. the frick? All right, all right. How's everybody doing tonight? So, let's see. Tom Bevins, how's Rick's tonight? Tom, I'm doing great, thank you. How are you guys doing? Tom asks, is there a good program for submitting ads to multiple traffic sites? I don't know, Tom. I personally like doing them one at a time myself. There might be one out there, I don't know. I have, I don't know how many I have. I've got a bunch of sites I post to, but the thing with me is I don't post to a lot of sites at once because they usually just do paid ads. I don't really do credits on too many safe lists. There's just like, or any kind of traffic programs. There's a few, but not. But then I'll buy the credits or whatever upgrade. I just don't surf for credits. If anybody else has an answer for Tom on that, you could drop it. I don't know. But I don't use any. I don't know of any. I've seen things from time to time, but I doubt if any of them work too well. You know. But yeah. Petra says, I'd rather go big sitting on my kitchen table with my laptop. That's the way to do it, Petra. That is the way to do it. Nobody wants to get on the broadcast with me? You're welcome to. The link is up there if you want to get on. Tom Evans says, let me rephrase, a dashboard to submit to several sites from one. I think I know what you mean. You mean you send to one thing and it goes out to all different sites? Or you have all, I don't, or you have, Tom, you mean where you click one button and it goes to multiple sites? Or you have multiple sites listed and you go from one to the other to the other? What do you mean? All right, so while I'm waiting to hear from Tom, what I wanted to do tonight, guys, is first of all, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. For you who are watching here live, welcome, welcome, and appreciate you coming out. And if you're watching the replay, welcome, welcome. I say it every time. I'll say it again. If you're watching the replay, please go into our Facebook group and post a message to say that you watched the event and any comments you have about it. Yeah, so Tom says just one dashboard and multiple sites that I can send. Oh, multiple sites I can send one at a time. No, I don't know, Tom. I don't know about that. I just have the safest I post to listed in a notepad. I just copy paste. Doesn't take very long. That's how I do it. I think there's some things like that out there, but the problem, the reason I usually don't use sites like that, Tom, is usually once you log into a site like that, you're like bombarded with OTOs and you're bombarded with ads. And by the time, you know, you use the site, it would have been faster just to do what I do, copy the URL, paste it, just do one after the other, you know, if that makes sense. You know, but yeah. So, what's going on with you guys? Working on anything? Anything you have questions about? Any project you're working on? If you're working on any lead magnets, working on any pages, anything you have questions about, need help with, now it's the time to ask. Well, I'm waiting to hear from you on that. So what I wanted to focus on tonight, I should say, is see, last week, what did we talk about last week? We talked about the lead capture page, right? Yeah, last week we talked about setting up a capture page. Did a little training on that. One concept that I see, especially newbies, have an issue with, guys. The one I would say, and I'd be interested to hear your comments on this. The one key thing that I see that separates marketers that are, having regular success online and ones that aren't. I see a common thread, and what that is, and I'd like to talk about that a little, is what's the best way I could put this? Usually, I think a lot of people, especially when they first get online, they have a feeling that if they could just get traffic to a web page, they're going to have success, right? They assume that they're going to have success just getting traffic to a web page, whether it's a capture page or a sales page or whatever it is. That's the key difference between us that I see between people that are having success and people that aren't having success. Okay. People that are having success online, marketers that have learned how to succeed. One thing they do, they don't assume anything. They don't. assume just because they get traffic, hey, I got to sign up, I got an opt-in, or I got a sale. They don't assume that. And newbies are newbies or people that might not be new, but you haven't been having success yet. Hey, Tim Black, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming out. So what, and again, I'd be interested to have, to hear your comments on this, but I see this for years. I've been seeing this. It's a common thing. Newbies assume if they can get traffic to the page, that the web page or website that they're promoting, that they're going to have success. And successful marketers don't do that. Successful marketers, they put a lot of thought, a lot of time, and a lot of effort into every page they create, every capture page, every sales page, every document, every email, everything. Okay. Now, when you get a little bit more experience, it gets a little bit faster, but it still takes a while because, usually the first idea you have, or the first draft of whatever you do, whether it's like I said, whether it's an email, a sales page, a capture page, or whatever, usually the first draft is not going to cut it, and that's where I see, newbies or amateurs or whatever you want to call them. That's where they fall down. Okay. Traffic. I've been saying this. Traffic is, you got to have traffic, but the thing is traffic is not hard to get. Okay, traffic is out there. You could get free traffic, put in the effort and get free traffic. You could buy traffic. There's millions of people online, so traffic is not a problem. Excuse me. Making sure that what you're selling, first of all, the very first thing is make sure what you're selling is something that people need and want. Of course, that's the first thing. If you're not selling something that people need or want, no matter how good your marketing materials are, you're still not probably going to get any opt-ins and sign-ups and things like that, right? However, if what you're selling, if what you're marketing is, decent, it's pretty good, then it's just a matter of really taking your time to figure out how to market it, like I said, it starts with everything. It starts with your ads, starts with your ads. What's, like, if you're doing a solo ad, what's the subject heading? What's the ad itself? If you're doing banner ads, or whatever, that has to be good. From there, you're hopefully sending people to a lead capture page, and that lead capture page has to be good, right? And it has to offer something so good, like I've said many times, it has to offer something so good that people are willing, they want to get a hold of it. Not only do they want to get it, but they're not going to try to cheat you either. They actually want to give you a good email address because you've sold them. You've sold them on the lead capture page, right? You've sold them on the lead capture page itself. You've quickly convinced somebody that what you're offering is worth, taking a serious look at. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, guys. Is if there's one thing that I see that amateurs are doing compared to people that are doing this professionally, is that professional marketers don't take anything for granted. They don't take one single word for granted even. Um, you know, Depending on how much time I have, depending on how important something is to me, I'm going to check and recheck and tweak and edit, and I'm going to do that endlessly until I feel it's good, and I'm going to test it. And if it's working, I still may tweak it some more. I might not, but in other words, don't just. I see this so much, guys. I don't want you guys to fall into this trap or whatever. Don't think just because, even if you have something that's good to sell, don't think just because you put up an ad or a page or whatever that you're doing good and that you're going to be successful. You know, you know. And listen, I mean, the purpose of this program is to help you guys learn how to do that. Now, you could always hire professionals to do that stuff for you, but and that's fun. I'm available. You want to pay me $1 million? I'll do something for you. But uh, you know, it's not my favorite thing to do in the world. I would rather show people how to do it than do it for them. Honestly, mainly because I don't really have the time. But nevertheless, the purpose of this program is to teach you guys and help you step by step to learn how to do this. So, last week we talked about, putting together a good capture page. We could talk more about that if you guys like. But also, you know, everything is important. Once let's say you create a good lead magnet that's desirable, it's intriguing, people want it, they see it, they want it, right? You have that, and you manage to put together a good lead capture page. The lead capture page, like we were talking about last week, it jumps out at people, right? Jumps out at them, grabs their attention, and lets them know exactly, what they're about to get without using. It's very easy to go overboard with stuff, guys. A lead capture page is very, very simple, doesn't have a whole lot of information, but it has just the right amount of information. And that's another thing that's key, guys, is knowing when something is too much and when it's too little. Not enough information, I'll pass. I don't need it that bad. Too much information, you're confusing me now. People get information overload very, very quickly. So the art of creating a good lead capture page is knowing just the right amount of information. And nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, but that's the ideal, is to have just the exact right amount of information on the lead capture page that gets people to opt in. Then when you send people to a sales page, now the sales page, we'll get into that in a minute. I see getting some comments here. Let's see. Petra says, I found this to help me come with ideas for headlines and capture pages. Tweak here. Okay, Tom says a good autoresponder series will go a long way in making up for less than optimal lead capture page. Well, Tom, when you say a good autoresponder series will go a long way in making up for a less than optimum lead capture page. If you don't have an optimum lead capture page, you're not going to have anybody to send follow-up emails to, right? So the capture page is crucial. Capture page is crucial. What is this page, Petra? Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll check that out later, Petra. That's cool. You know what I mean, Tom? You definitely, and let me say this about autoresponder series, guys, is they're cool, they're fun to have, but they're usually not that effective. Good follow-up, most of the, not most, but a lot of the top marketers that I'm aware of, they don't really have canned follow-up emails. They may have one or two, but most of the top marketers that I'm aware of, they send out broadcast emails, on a daily basis or every other day or every few days or however they decide to do it. That's pretty much what I don't have a whole lot. I've never been one to create a lot of follow-up emails, When I've worked on other people's campaigns, a lot of times I will, just because I know they're not, they don't have the, the experience yet to do it. So if I'm working on somebody else's campaign, I'll create a few or handful or so of automatic follow-ups. But the best follow-ups are, just you sending them out. The way I look at my list, or anybody that's following me on Facebook, or anybody that's following me on my list, or anything, I look at it like that I'm a broadcaster. I got a show, basically, and every day. Now I don't post things every day. I don't email every day. Sometimes I'll email every day for a while, then I'll stop for a little while. I don't have like a set thing, but I know a lot of top marketers do that too. They're like they like the freshness of the broadcast follow-ups, And if you're a marketer, if you're got something that you're selling, this is kind of important, guys. If you have either a product or a program or whatever it is that you're selling, you are thinking about that all the time, or you should be thinking about that all the time. And what you need to be thinking about all the time is how to promote it. What am I missing? What can I do better? What can I, and you got the more you think about something, the more ideas you get about it. Too many people, and again, I'm just going to use the word amateurs. Amateur marketers want something and like a plug and play type thing, and that's okay. I've sold plug and play things. They're nice. They just don't really work that good. The purpose of this program, this training program, guys, is to help you move up, step up your game to where you're not just looking for automatic answers, but you become you develop a marketer mind, right? The only way to do that is to be thinking all the time about it. If you've got something that you're trying to sell, you got to be constantly thinking, how could I do this? What could I say differently? What can I say today that maybe I didn't, a different way to put something, a different angle, a different way to say it, a different bullet point that I haven't mentioned before, right? So you want to be thinking of these things all the time. That's how you become a good marketer. You guys know what I'm saying? Petra, I found so many things. It's insane. Okay. Not sure what you mean by that, Petra. Tom says, but on the other hand, we need to take some action to get things started. If we don't get some capture pages out there, how will we know what's going to work for our product? Since we will hopefully be signing a process on a regular basis with the autoresponder, not help get people up to speed. Trying to understand what you're saying, Tom. Since we'll be hopefully signing up prospects on a regular basis, will the autoresponder not help get people up to speed so the broadcasts have more meaning? Okay. I'm not really sure what you mean there, Tom. I think that the key thing that I would like to get across to people in this program is man, I do not like this way of Facebook. You have to keep refreshing and clicking. You can't. It seems like things just pop up. The key thing that I would like to get across to people in this group is, like I was just saying, to try to develop a marketer's mind, and the only way to really do that is to be thinking, about it, Tom, you should have one or two, at least one, if not more. Some of my programs I have like 3 or 4, sometimes more. Another thing that I follow ups. One of the things that I do is when I create a broadcast follow up. A lot of times, if I really think it's good, I will add that to the auto responder follow ups. But to sit there and create a bunch of follow ups beforehand, I usually only do 1 or 2 at the most. If I add more, it's usually broadcasts that I've copied and then turned into auto responder follow-ups, automated follow-ups, if that makes sense. So what you guys want to learn how to do, and just keep getting better and better at, like I said, is just think about what you're selling. Think about a better way to state things, better way to say it. A lot of times, I know for me, this happens to me a lot. I'll be pushing a certain angle about something. What I might be trying to sell something. I'll have in my mind a certain angle that I'm trying to get across to people, and then a few days later or something, it'll occur to me, there's a whole other angle that I haven't really approached people with. And the only way that happens is because I am thinking about this stuff all the time, right? If I was going to just rely on, okay, I'm going to put together, 10 autoresponders, 10 autoresponder follow-ups, plug those in. Well, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, you got that, but if you spent time thinking more about what you're selling, those new angles, those new approaches, maybe it's a different type of follow-up deal. Maybe it's a new type of capture page. Maybe it's a new type of this or that. If you guys are not going to do that stuff, you're going to have a hard time succeeding. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be very difficult for you. Marketing is not, what am I trying to say? The plug and play type stuff, guys, only goes so far, and I in the past, I have provided plug and play type systems for people, like if I'm promoting a network marketing business, which I haven't promoted that many of them, to be honest with you, especially online. Like on one hand, I could count how many I've promoted online in all my years. But let's say that's what I'm doing. I'm promoting a network marketing business, a multi-level business, a team business type thing. I'm trying to build a team. I know when I'm recruiting people, I'm going to recruit a lot of people that don't have experience, that don't have a real marketer's mind. And so I will create plug and play type systems. They never really work very good. They will work for a time, and they will work for a certain number of people. But as I've said many times, things get saturated very quickly. Not only that, it's not just a saturation issue, but again, you know, you might think of something that I wouldn't think about, that could just, blow things up for you, right? Could just blow things up for you. It's just one idea that you get because you're spending time thinking about your marketing. You're thinking about what you're selling. You're thinking about how to market it. If your mind is set on, well, my sponsor gave me this, and I'm just going to do that, and hopefully it works. If you're going to do that, then your marketer mind is not developing, right? You have to kind of develop the marketer mind, and you do that by thinking a lot about it. One thing that helps is to put yourself in your prospect's shoes. What kind of things do they need to see or hear? What do they need to read? What do they need to know to close the deal for them? If you're only relying on your sponsor may have one thing, and he or she may have something that is working, and it might be working for them, might be working for a couple other people, but it's not going to work for everybody. Not only that, everybody has their limitations. One of the good things about like a team business type of a business is that you have a lot of minds hopefully working at once, and people are bouncing ideas off each other. What about if we do this? What if we try that? Pretty soon, those things happen. But if everybody's just going, well, my sponsor's successful, so, he or she will give me what I need. It doesn't work that way. Does that make sense, guys? In other words, not in other words, I've already said this, but what I'm trying really hard to do with this program is to help you guys develop that marketing mind, to help you guys learn to really think on this stuff, if you want to be successful. I mean, I take it that's why you're in this group, is because you want to, truly be successful online. And I don't know any way to be successful online without developing a marketing mindset, and you do that by thinking a lot about what you're selling, think about different angles. What could I be saying differently? What could I be doing differently? You can't ever just be satisfied, and just go, okay, well, I did that. I got that. I'm done. It's never going to be done, These are just the cold, hard truths of business. Tom says, I think we are looking at autoresponders differently. I would obviously be working on my project as much as possible and think of ways to improve it. I was looking at the autoresponders to encourage those who haven't signed up to do so, and for the ones who have, highlighting some of the basic benefits that may take action. Yeah, I know, Tom, what you're saying. I understand that, but what I'm trying to tell you is those things don't really work very well. Reverse the situation. Let's say you opted in for something that sounded good. You were interested enough to opt in. And now you're getting emails. And you're getting emails saying, wow, you should do this. This thing is good because it does this and it does that. And you're going to make money and blah, 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 blah. And then you get another email the other day. You should sign up for this because blah, 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 blah. And you should sign up for that. here's what I'm trying to say, Tom, is those things very rarely, I can't say that word clearly, those things hardly ever work because people, it's like seeing the same advertisement over and over and over. Eventually, you just kind of block it out. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. But if you get an email from somebody that's just, wow, where did that come? That doesn't even sound like the guy's trying to sell me something. That sounds like something different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't keep pushing the same thing over and over and over. You know, um, I to try to encourage people to sign up for something only goes so far. I'll try that sporadically, but I will always try coming at it from a different angle. I understand what you're trying to do. I'm just saying, Tom, based on my experience, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm not saying you shouldn't have, a couple, follow-ups, pre-done follow-ups. You should have, anywhere from 2 to 5 or what. I mean, you can have as many as you want. All I'm saying is don't assume just because you have follow-up emails that you're going to make sales. Okay. I know people that are trying to sell you, people that are trying to sell their systems and sell their things will tell you, yeah, that's all you got to do is go sit on the beach, just plug in these follow-ups and sit on the beach. You're going to make money. It doesn't usually work that way. I'm telling you, all the top not all, but most of the top marketers that I'm aware of rely 99% on broadcast emails, not automated follow-ups. And there's a reason for it, because the automated follow-ups don't work. People stop paying attention to them very, very quickly. Petra says, how do you get them into your autoresponder without a capture page first? I don't think he's saying that, Petra. I think he's saying after people opt in on the capture page. Here's the thing. Okay, this what I'm about to say now will paint a more clear picture for you guys regarding email follow-ups. It slipped my mind what I was about to say. Sorry, I try to remember what I was about to say. The problem with follow-ups is, okay, I know what I was going to say. The problem this is it, guys. This is what I'm trying to say. The problem with email follow-ups is this: people generally do not read them. Okay, that's the big problem, and the best marketers, the professional marketers, know that. People don't just open up follow-up emails. All right. You have to, every time you send out, this is what's the problem is. Every time you send an email to your list, whatever list you're sending an email out to, most people are not going to open it. The vast majority of people are not going to open it. All right. You have to approach every email that you send as a brand new, like piece of marketing. It's brand new marketing, brand new marketing material. It's very difficult to do that all at once, to set up a bunch of follow-ups that have that kind of an edge to them. Your emails have to have an edge to them. It's much easier to do those in a broadcast because, well, there's just a lot of reasons. It sounds fresh if you could talk about something that just happened. Maybe you have some kind of experience today that, wow, this kind of reminds me, and you know, you could add that, and you could make the subject heading, you know, relate to that, you know. It's kind of hard for me to put into words verbally, but people people can tell when they open their inbox and there's a subject heading that isn't very effective. They're probably not going to open that email up, and if they do, they'll really won't pay much attention to what's in it. You have to approach each, and this is the very reason I don't send emails to my list every day. I'm not good enough. Okay. I put a lot of thought into each email that I send. They're not all successful that I send, but either way, I put a lot of thought, into the subject heading. I put a lot of thought into what goes into the body of the email, right? I put a lot of thought into, a lot of times I'll send an email and I'll send somebody to a video or a page or this. I put a lot of thought into this stuff. I don't just put a bunch of canned stuff together because I know I can't, it's impossible to do that. It's very difficult to do that. You have to approach each email that you send as an important marketing piece, not just, okay, well, I know I got to send 10 follow-ups, so here's my 10 follow-ups. And, you know, that's not how marketing works. So that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys is, you know, I never told you guys that it's easy, you know, but it can be done. But you know, to try to take the easy way, you know, you're just not going to get to the point you're trying to get to. So I hope that does that make it a little bit clearer what I'm trying to say? So, you know, so again, whether it's an email follow-up, whether it's a video, you're putting together a video, whether you're putting together a, you know, anything where you're trying to get people to do anything, whether it's to opt in, whether it's to buy, whether it's to whatever it is. If you want to be a good marketer, learn how to do this stuff and be thinking about this stuff, put thought into it, make stuff fresh. Fresh is like the key word, you know. People know when stuff is stale. They've seen the same subject headings. They've seen the same stuff in the emails. It's just blah, 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 blah. You want to come across with your own personality. Use your personality. Use your brain. Use your heart. Use your spirit. Use everything that you have to capture people's attention, you know, and to get them to do what it is that you need them to do. Tom Bevan says, then how do you remind people about something they signed up for or maybe forgot or misplaced when you have people signing up every day? Tom, please understand, I'm not saying not to have any follow-ups. I'm just saying don't lean on those follow-ups to make sales or anything for you. That's all I'm saying. You should have at least one follow-up automated that they get when they opt in. So that will remind them, hey, you opted in here. If you forgot to, if you didn't get a chance to look at something here at the video or whatever it is, if you didn't get a chance to download my report, here it is, you know. So have one or two, you know, or you could have more, you know. I'm just saying to do those ahead of time. They're not going to be good. That's the bottom line. To be good, they have to be fresh. You have to put time into thinking about it. And usually for myself, and I think for most people, if you try to come up with a whole follow-up series all at once, they're probably not going to be that good, you know. And I've tried it. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried coming up with a bunch, and I go back and I go, why did I even include that? It stinks, you know. Okay. Yeah, I'm just, again, Tom. I'm just trying to get you guys to, to think like marketers, and to put yourself in your prospect's shoes. Again, they're bombarded with stuff all day long. Again, emails all day long about the same old stuff, same old stuff. You got, to be successful, you've got to set yourself apart, and the only way to do that is to be fresh and really put your heart and soul into it. Because yeah, 3 or 4 is at the most, but again, you want them to be good, Tom, so you got to put a lot of thought into them. What was I going to say? Excuse me, guys. Are you guys getting the idea of what I'm talking about, though? Don't again, going back to what I was saying originally, what separates the amateurs from the professionals is the amateurs think they assume that what they're doing is good enough. Professionals never assume that. They test, they tweak, they edit, they get other people's opinions, whatever it takes, you know. That's the difference. So it's a subtle difference, but it's a huge difference in the outcome. You know, uh, the other thing is you have to uh, you know you have to be sometimes inspired. And inspiration, you can't force inspiration sometimes. So if you want like a set and forget thing, that leaves out all the inspiration part. Today I was going for a walk, and I have a website that I actually had programmed and created a couple of years ago. I think it's been like 2 years, and I never launched it because I just couldn't put it. I couldn't get it quite either in my mind or in anything. I couldn't get it quite how I wanted it. And today while I was going for a walk, it clicked on me. It's just inspiration. I just got like a divine inspiration. This is what you should do with that, right? And I think it's going to be very successful. I'm going to probably launch in a week or two, and it's probably going to be very successful, I hope, because I could picture it now. I could see how it's going to work now. But when you depend on just plug and play stuff or pre-designed stuff, and okay, I've got it now. I just need traffic. Your whole focus now is traffic. You're leaving out the very essence of what is going to make you successful. You have to leave room for that creativity and the inspiration and the ideas. And the way you get that is by thinking of stuff. The reason I got that idea for that website today, I started thinking about it. Just trying to think of programs that I have that I haven't been working on and stuff. New year, I want to launch some new things, and I started thinking about that site, and I was almost at the point where I wasn't even going to ever do it. But then today I started thinking about it, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like inspiration. Okay, yeah, I think that'll work. So, I could have launched it, a year or two ago as I originally designed it, but I think if it didn't fail, I think it would have. I don't think it would have been. It would have been good. So, you know what I'm saying? So you got to leave space for that creativity and inspiration. Tim Black, a lot of good food for thought, Rick. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much, my friend. That again, just to reiterate, traffic is important, right? But your marketing campaign, your marketing materials, everything, the ads, the lead capture pages, the sales pages, the follow-ups, everything is and of course your product and all that. Those are the key things, um, don't just assume because you have a product or something that, unless you have a product, that you've kind of cornered the market on something, uh, you know, you've cornered the market on water or something. It's not that difficult to sell water to people that are thirsty, right? But if you're selling water and there's like a million people selling water, right? What can I do to make my water stand out from the crowd? I mean, that's actually a good example. Everybody needs water. Okay, we have to have water. So let's say you're selling water, and excuse me, you're selling water, and everybody's selling. Let's say there's 10 brands of water out there or something, and you're selling one of the brands. How do I make the brand that I'm selling? Because not only do I have competition from other people selling water, I have competition from other people selling the same water I'm selling. Right? So what can I do differently? And the only way to figure that out is to spend a lot of time thinking about it. And you might be thinking about it for days, weeks, months before you really come up with something, but if you just say, well, I'm just going to use the same market material. I'm selling Arrowhead water. So, hey, here's Arrowhead water. You want water, right? You like water. Arrowhead, it's a good brand, right? So buy it, right? Well, how are you doing? How is that different than what everybody else is doing that's selling Arrowhead water? Instead, what I might say is, hey, buy a bottle of water and you get a free bottle of multivitamins with it or something, I don't know, what, who knows what you're going to come up with, but you have to come up with something. And the only way to do that is to be thinking about it, have developed that marketing mind. What angles can I use? What can I say? What can I do? What can I add? What can I subtract? Um, and I'm telling you, when you start thinking about that, you guys, we all are the same. We're all the same things. We all have the same brain power, or not the same brain power. I have less than most people, but we all have computers in our heads that if we feed it enough information, it'll spit out something. So you got to spend time on this stuff. Don't just think, okay, well, I'm selling Arrowhead water. All I got to do is send enough traffic to my website, to my Arrowhead website, and I'll sell it. Well, that might be true if you're the only one selling Arrowhead water. If you're the only one selling Arrowhead water, all you got to do is say, hey, I've got Arrowhead water, and you'll sell it. If you got 5 zillion other people selling Arrowhead water, just getting people to your webpage is not going to be enough. Does that make sense? You've got to figure out something. And who knows what it could be? It could just be the way you say something. It could be maybe people just want to buy, they want Arrowhead water, but they want to buy it from you because you've you know, done something to get people to want to buy from you. Whatever it is, it could be anything, guys. But unless you're putting a lot of thought into it, you know, I wish I could tell you here is the ABC of how to sell Arrowhead water. Do A, B, C, and you're going to sell a ton. Well, that would only work again if you're the only one doing A, B, and C, right? If I tell you do A, B, and C, and you'll sell more Arrowhead water. But your competition is also doing A, B, C. It's, you know, so, you know, a lot of marketing is constant working on stuff. You know, I mentioned this, I think, last week or so. You know, it's why major companies like McDonald's and Coke and just about any major company, they have full-time marketing teams working on stuff to stay ahead of the competition, or at least keep up with the competition, right? McDonald's doesn't say, hey, we've got cheeseburgers, so come on in. You know, they're constantly coming up with new food items. They're constantly coming up with new slogans. They're constantly coming up with new contests. They're always working on something, always, right? You'd think a company as well known as McDonald's or Coke or name a major company, you think all they have to do is say, hey, we're here, let's go, you know. And there's a certain amount of people that will, but that's because of location, right? And when you're marketing online, you don't have a exclusive location, right? You know, so you know, and I know part. And if you guys want to talk about like network marketing, for example, we can talk about that. It's slightly little different. Network marketing is more the concept is a lot of people doing a little, and that's fine. But people that do a little usually don't have very big success, no matter what. So even if I'm marketing something in the context of like a network marketing team, a team business atmosphere, even if I'm doing that, I'm going to go full on and create a whole marketing system separate from what anybody's ever given me. If my upline says, hey, here's just use this lead capture system or use this thing or use this whatever, no, I'm not going to do that. I may do it in the meantime while I'm developing my own thing. And yes, I will share that with my team, but I know it's not going to do them a whole lot of good. It's not going to be the be all end all, you know. And that was one of the reasons I started this program again, is because, you know, I've only been in a couple team type businesses over the last few years, and both of those companies, I recruited a lot of people, and I had a few people that recruited a lot of people, but the majority of people didn't do very much. They might have gotten one or two signups at the most, you know, and that's because why? Is a perfect example, guys. Why? You know, if I had a team of hundreds of people, right? How come there's only a few people that were doing all the recruiting, getting all the signups, and most people that signed up, if they were lucky, they got one or two? What was the difference? Post a comment in our group and tell me what is the difference between the people that recruited a lot of people like myself and the people that got in and didn't recruit anybody, or just maybe one or two. What was the difference? What is the difference? Can you guess? Nobody has a guess? Is anybody still listening? Petra says because they were different. Not exactly the answer I was looking for, Petra. What do you mean they were different? What do you mean, dear? What different in what way? Jeff Mars, because everyone was doing the same old stuff. Yeah, and that's right, Jeff. And the opposite of that is everyone wasn't doing their own stuff. Yeah. Um, the reason I could have success is because I created my own stuff. I did my own stuff. I said my own things. I used my own follow-ups. And everybody else depending on what they got from somebody else. When I look and I see the people on my team that were also having success, they were doing their own stuff too, right? They weren't just taking what I gave them and followed. No, they went off and they did their own thing. That's why they had success. So yeah. Petra, market the same thing but in a completely different way. Creators are. Yeah, that's right, Petra. Yeah, you could be marketing the same exact thing. You're right. And as long as you do it differently, your chances of having success just goes up, much higher. Because it all comes down, like I said, to marketing, right? People, that learn how to become good marketers have the advantage. People and that's whether it's offline, online, doesn't matter. Where you're selling, right? Whether you're selling on the internet, whether you're selling in a store, whether you're selling door to door, whether you're selling mail order, however you're selling, right, comes down to marketing. You have to learn marketing. It's what what I've been trying to tell people, for a long time now. If you're going to try to sell something, you're not going to take the time to learn how to market it, come up with a good way to market it, So, so I'll just, I know, the the goal of this training program is to work on developing a certain, lead influence system, a certain lead capture system. And that's still the focus. But the thing is, creating a good a lead system is what you need to do for pretty much for anything that you're selling. I don't care what you're selling online. You need to come up with a good lead system. And so you got a lot of aspects that you need to work on. Not to try to overwhelm you with information, not to put you in information overload or anything like that. But there is a lot of moving parts that you have to work on. It's just a fact of life. Yeah, you could farm that out and everything, and that's fine. But when you learn how to do the stuff, you know, You know, unless you're building a big company where you're going to be hiring people and you're outsourcing stuff and all that stuff. Then that's fun. Um, you know, most people that you outsource things to, though, depending on what you're trying to do, I'll be very honest. Um, a lot of that stuff usually doesn't work that good. Even marketers that are just charging like thousands of dollars to set up like sales funnels for people and everything, they usually don't work all that great. It's hard to, you know, when you're working on something yourself, uh, you're gonna see the picture a little bit more clearly, you know, than somebody that you know hire out, you know, you outsource and stuff to. But not that there's anything wrong with outsourcing stuff. I mean, I'm all for it. But if you're going to outsource parts of your marketing, either parts or all of your marketing, you still want to know marketing. So when you outsource it and it's delivered to you, you need to be able to say, no, this is crap, this is good, this is great. You know, you have to know. So anyway, any other questions before we shut her down for the night here, guys? Questions, comments? Was this helpful at all? I'm not going to ask you guys if you've been working on your lead magnets, your lead influence magnets, because every time I ask, I just get a bunch of excuses from you guys. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm not even going to ask. If you have questions about it or you have comments about it, just let me know. But, you know, creating a lead magnet, though, is, you know, if you have a good lead magnet, everything else really falls into place. You know, it's easier to create a good lead capture page. It's easier to create ads. It's easier to create follow-ups if you have a really good kick butt lead magnet. Petra says, you read something or watch a video and out of nowhere, now you want it, whatever they're selling in your hooks. That is great marketing. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of times, Petra, it's just because what they're selling is just, sometimes you don't really need to embellish things too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes good marketing is knowing how much to embellish something, right? You know, it's not always, you know, it's not always a matter of adding or anything like that. To go back to my example, you know, with the water example, or forget that. Let's say you're looking in a magazine, Petra, or something like that, and you see an ad for some kind of piece of technology or a car or this or that or piece of cookware, whatever it is. You see an ad for something, you go, yeah, I really want that. That looks great. Now, it might have, you know, there's probably good marketing because they knew how much to embellish the product itself and how, you know, how much to do it, how little to do it. They did it in just the right way that it got your attention and got your interest, right? You put the desire in you to get that product. Now, here's the thing. What if you go online and you're looking for that product and you see, you know, you go to Google or Amazon or whatever it is, and you see like a million different people selling that same product. Who do you go with, right? Now it comes down to who's got the best marketing, who has the best price, right? And part of marketing is pricing too. Price is always, an issue in marketing as well. Pricing is part of marketing. So if you're only presented with one way to buy something, then whoever's selling it, they got it made. But most of the time, it's not like that. An exception might be like a car. Like say you want to buy a new car, you want to buy a new whatever, Dodge Ram or something. I don't know, whatever you want to buy. There may only be one or two places within 100 miles of you that's selling it. So in that case, the Dodge dealer doesn't have too much marketing to worry about. They know if you want a Dodge, you're going to come in. So that's not that's not a tough decision. But if you wanted a Dodge and there was 50 Dodge dealers, within 50 miles of you, it's going to come down to whoever is going to give you the best service, the best price, does the best marketing job altogether. And again, marketing involves all the things: pricing, service, everything is involved with it. If part of marketing is convincing people that they're going to get better service and delivering that service to people. So it's not exactly marketing. The marketing part is where you can get people to start thinking that they're going to get better service, before they get the service. That's marketing. Once you deliver the service, now it's service. It's separate from marketing. Now it's a whole other thing. It's service. But if part of what you're selling is service, you have to sell that. You have to market that. Does that make sense? Any other comments, questions, anything? Another thing, maybe we'll talk about this next week, guys, is there's also branding, is very important too, guys. Branding is something, we should always be thinking about. Having a good brand is like 50%, of the battle. So you guys should always be working on developing your brand, We'll talk more about that maybe next week. That'd be a good one to talk about next week. Comments, questions, anything before we sign off? No? Okay. All right, so everybody that came out live for the broadcast, thank you so much. I do appreciate you guys so much. And those, if you're watching the broadcast, thanks for watching the broadcast. I appreciate you. Drop a comment in our Facebook group. Let us know that you watched. Post any questions, comments, things like that. Okay. And I will bid you guys good night. And until next time, again, don't forget, I'm always available. If you need help any day of the week, just let me know. I'm here to help you guys. All right. And that's about it. Petra says need to think more. Yeah, just put more thought into what you're selling. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to do stuff. That's where I always find myself messing up, is when I'm in a hurry to do something. The more time I take to think about stuff, and let the ideas, marinate a little bit, comes out better. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate y'all's, and I'll be out chatting with y'all soon. Thanks.